This topic talk is about American Indian and Hispanic rights during the Civil Rights era. First, let's take a look at Indian boarding schools. Reformers had pushed the federal government to begin a policy of assimilation, where American Indians were taught the values of non-Native American culture so that they would fit in with non-Native American culture. And they thought this could be done or achieved through education. In the late 1870s, reformers tried a new experiment of using Indian boarding schools. The schools were placed far enough away from families that it was difficult to be in contact with them, so that cultural ties and background could be cut, along with their hair and their clothing changed to help Americanize them. They were taught English, European ideas, agriculture, and working trades. Students were prohibited from speaking their native languages. Instead, they were supposed to think in English, and if they didn't, they were severely beaten. Between 1880 and 1902, 25 Indian boarding schools were built, and 20,000 to 30,000 Native American children went through this system. When the Civil Rights Movement began to thrive, American Indian groups sought control of their own education, and in 1972 won that right with the Indian Education Act, which also let them control funding as well as their school programs. This change has brought about the creation of Indian schools run by the tribes. Now we're going to take a look at the occupation of Alcatraz. On November 20th, 1969, 79 American Indians went to Alcatraz Island to begin a 19-month occupation on the island. They wanted to draw national attention to the issues of the American Indians. They demanded a return of Alcatraz based on treaty rights, monies for an American Indian Cultural Center, and also money to help fund an American Indian University. During the occupation, they received an outpouring of support from businesses to help with occupation costs and supplies, and they even found support from celebrities like Jane Fonda, Marlon Brando, and Jonathan Winters. Creedence Clearwater Revival even donated $15,000 to the cause. The occupation began to falter with the death of one of the occupiers' children, with the difficulties of living on the island, and Nixon's decision to support self-determination on reservations. While the occupation was not successful in the list of demands or rights they received, it was successful in raising awareness and in jump-starting the Red Power movement nationally. This would make an interesting History Day topic. Now we're going to switch to Hispanic rights. Cesar Chavez was a Mexican farm worker who wanted to organize farm workers to increase their rights in both pay and treatment. Following the belief of nonviolence and using marches, you can see the connections between Chavez and Martin Luther King Jr. In August of 1966, he formed the United Farm Workers and called for a great boycott from consumers to help support a strike he was performing. As the strike and boycott were faltering, Chavez went on a hunger strike to gain support, and media attention helped that. At the peak, 17 million supported the boycott. He got the support of Robert F. Kennedy and even the California Governor Jerry Brown. This led to a 3-year contract and also Brown's support of a law which ensured the right for farm workers to unionize. Finally, we're going to take a look at the 1968 student walkouts, which would be a great topic for History Day. To protest the educational conditions for Hispanics in East LA in March of 1968, Sal Castro led a student walkout. By its end, 15,000 students had walked out of classes from 5 high schools, and the protest spread to different cities among the Southwest. Hispanic students faced curriculum that did not reflect them, discrimination in extracurriculars, lower expectations, and a lack of bilingual education. They presented a list of demands to the school board. The school board didn't reply, but even though they didn't get all their demands, national attention was focused on the educational inequalities. More Hispanic teachers were hired, and the seeds were laid for bilingual education.